it to lava!
Welcome to General Quarters. I'm your host, Jim Maughan from the Lepanto Institute. Today we have with us a very special guest, Cheri Ballinger. And a quick point before we get started, if you like what you see here, please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button, and hit the bell if you want to get notified about new content. Now, also please consider donating to the Lepanto Institute, and that's at www.lepantoin.org. And hang on one second, there we go. And lastly, if you really want to get involved with the Lepanto Institute, please consider joining the Anchor team. It's just $15 a month and entitles you to premium benefits like our Friday night get-togethers online. And this is how we keep these messages coming to you, and this is how we survive because of folks like you. So thanks very much. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring up to the stage Cheri Ballinger, and I would like to say welcome, Cheri.
Hello, Jim. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, it's a real honor, and we've had a couple of conversations in the past couple of weeks, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to today because I think you have a great story. So why don't you start telling us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the project of Roe v. Wade, but it's worth mentioning before we get started. Actually, the film Roe v. Wade is about to come out April 2nd, and it's an American political legal dramatization of the landmark Supreme Court decision, produced and written by Nick Loeb and Kathy Allen. Now, the film premiered at the Vienna Independent Film Festival, where actually Jon Voight won Best Supporting Actor, and it was also recently showcased at CPAC. And as I said, it'll be released in a few weeks. So back to why don't you, Cheri, tell us about your background, tell us how you got involved in this film, and say hi to our audience at the Lepanto.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you again, Jim, for having me on today. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, you know what? There's so many exciting things going on, and thank you for mentioning Roe v. Wade. It does come out on all the streaming platforms April 2nd, and I'm very honored to be an executive producer on this film, and I think that you all are going to really enjoy it. I'm very pleased with how it has turned out, and it's just a fantastic film. So great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so hey, what do you you have a really amazing story, actually, and why don't you tell us about some of the things that have happened to you and how you wound up here and all that?
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely, Jim. It's a story.
Right.
So basically, I was a model and an actress for many years. I enjoyed a lot of success, and I truly do feel like God has always blessed me so abundantly. And my Catholic faith has always been a central part of my life, which I'm very grateful for. And yeah, so I was just living life and traveling the world and doing all these things until one day on February 11th of 2014, I was on a set to do a movie poster. Long story short, I was in the middle of an action shot in the air, and I fell from about 7 feet onto the back of my head on concrete.
Oh, Lord. Oh.
And it's one of those moments where your life in that instance just changes forever.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I sustained a severe traumatic brain injury. It was horrible. And, I had to learn how to walk again, how to talk again. I just became this child. And the doctors said I should have been paralyzed, if not dead. And needless to say, my life stopped. And it was, it's like, we all have these moments in life. And I don't just have a story. All of you have a story. And it's important to share it because it just really brings you back to the basics and what matters in life. And when that happened to me, all the things that I thought were important are suddenly not important anymore. Everything just goes out the window. You know what
Sure.
I mean?
Sure.
And I'm more concerned about, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? I can't move my legs, or suddenly like I can't say what I want to say, and my mind feels dry.
Wow.
It was just it was devastating. It was devastating.
Yeah, a dark night of the soul. I mean,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, again, I really enjoyed talking to you in the past. And you've told me you have to relearn everything: how to walk,
Yeah.
how to associate, um, the cup with the word cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just say, please continue.
I just everything stopped.
Yeah.
Everything stopped. And something I do want to point out is that on that day,
Hmm.
February 11th, it's the feast day of Our Lady of Lourdes. And I had prayed several rosaries on my way to the set that morning. And little did I know my life would change that day. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I truly do, without a doubt, know that our Blessed Mother helped spare my life that day. I know without a doubt.
Wow.
And I really encourage people to have the devotion of the Rosary, because I know that that's why I was spared that day. And I get emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I get emotional talking about it, because you never know your days every day, and
Right.
I had no idea that day that would happen to me.
Yeah,
But
and plus, if I may, you're bopping along, lovely young woman, very attractive, modeling, acting, and then bam, it all stops. Uh,
everything.
I mean, right, and so, I mean, then please continue.
And you don't know. That's why it's so important
Yeah.
to live every single day with a mindset that every single day is a blessing. And I wasn't necessarily doing that, but I'm thankful I prayed the rosary several times that morning, because it was that feast day, which was always very special to me. My family is French. That's where I
Right, right.
Catholic faith. Yeah, it's my mom's first language. My parents were actually married at a parish called Our Lady of Lourdes, and I've always had a great devotion
Yeah.
to the rosary. So it was a very significant day for me, but I just never would have known that would have happened. And to this day, it just chokes me up, because I
I,
know I was
I,
given a second chance at life.
and just as a side note, but you've been to Lourdes, haven't you?
I haven't. I've been to
Ah,
France, but I have not made it yet to Lourdes, and that is my plan.
yes, I just know. I was just curious.
ASAP.
There's
Yeah.
a reason. There's a reason it's Lourdes is where Lourdes is, because it's very difficult to get to. It's not like you take one train from Paris. I think it's 8. and
Oh,
and
wow.
and I've had a similar devotion to Lourdes. I've always felt I've always felt a very strong devotion there, and I think that your story is so powerful. You got to go. I mean, and take the
Yes.
bath and take the bath, as they say. I
Yes.
just think that's beautiful. So all of these things happened. You relied on your faith. You had a great family. You told me about that, which I loved. But some, I guess, for lack of a better word, forgive me, some positive things started to happen when you started to move forward. Tell me about those.
Yes. So, I mean, I had a 4-year recovery. So that's a long time to be out of the world and learning the basics again, and having to retrain my brain, physical therapy, speech therapy, learning how to walk, how to talk again, memory. I had lost my memory. I went through some really dark periods of time through this 4-year recovery. And the doctors even said,
Sure.
you're probably never going to be able to have a life again. And I
Wow.
was such a ball of fire before. So, as you can imagine, that was so completely devastating to me. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't even want to live anymore. The
Sure.
prospect of not having that fire in me, and zest for life that I had in the past, and being able to live life the way I had, was just so it was such a hard pill to swallow. It was a hard thing to come to terms with. And
as you know, it's very common, by the way, when with those kind of traumatic sort of injuries, where I mean, how dark can it get, right?
yeah,
I completely understand. And then
yeah.
and then you moved on, and actually you worked. I assume it was probably the toughest battle of your life in terms of
Absolutely.
coming back to walking, identifying, the word cup with cup, and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So, and then tell me about that, and then what happened subsequently.
Absolutely. And, they call it a silent injury because even though my family and I could tell that physically I was still, ill and recovering, not everybody could. So my mom would drive me somewhere, for example, and someone would see me and start talking. And then I would just nod my head and say yes or something. And then like they would walk away and then I would just like burst into tears because I wouldn't
Sure.
recognize who that was. And clearly like this was probably someone who was talking to me as if they knew me personally, but I didn't know who they were. And I didn't want people to know because I didn't want to have that stigma that I was broken, because I felt broken. And
Sure.
I was told basically I would be broken for the rest of my life. So it was really, I'm trying not to get super emotional because it's like, it was horrible. It's something I would never wish on anyone. But you know what? Let me tell you something. God is so good. He is so good because he had a beautiful plan. And through the beautiful way, through the most beautiful way, I was in touch with a naturopathic doctor, and she was the one who really helped to accelerate my recovery, and I finally started getting better again. And so this was like after 4 years, and as you can imagine, after 4 years, everybody's life goes on around you, sibling, family, friends, everyone, and I was just there like bedridden most of the time and worried, am I gonna be able to walk again or do little things again, and so I get better, and I'm not 100%. It's 4 years later, and I get to this period where I call this my surrender moment. And the reason why is because it was almost scarier than the 4 years of recovery, because now, I mean, I was told I was never really going to get better again, and now I'm suddenly getting better. I'm a fighter, so I'm like fighting through this, and I'm at this stage now, and it's like, oh boy, like, what am I going to do with my life?
Sure.
I felt like everything I had dreamed of and wanted in life was taken from me. I found myself like 4 years older and the world different, and what am I going to do now? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, not a small point. Understandable.
Oh,
Please.
It was horrible. It was such a terrible, dark moment this time that I had, and I had to get to this rock bottom point of surrender, because that's when my rock bottom was.
Right.
And I ended up just saying, you know what, God, wherever you want me to go, whatever you want me to do, I'll go wherever, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I don't know what you want of me. And now I'm finally better. What do you want me to do? I don't understand. Why did this happen to me? Why did you take me out of the world for 4 years and dash all my hopes and dreams and all the things I wanted in life, and
Understandable.
It was like it took that rock bottom point but let me tell you something. After that, that's when everything started to change. And I'm not even kidding. Within a few weeks, things just started happening for me. And it was after that point of surrender.
Go ahead, please.
And I have to say that to people because it's such an important part of my story, because I want everyone to know, no matter what you go through, because we all go through things in life, we all have these difficult trials and battles. If you can reach that point of surrender, then, only then, can you really understand and truly know what God's plan is for your life. Until then, you can't really know what his mission is for you. And he has a mission and a plan for all of us. All of us.
Wow, well said. Great.
And I'm so stubborn, Jim. Like, it obviously took an accident, a horrific accident, 4 years of recovery, and this dark moment for me to get to the point of surrender. So I really hope that everyone else could get there like a lot easier than I ever did.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That's great. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Keep going,
it's
please.
Important. It's important, though. Yeah. And so a few weeks later, everything starts to change. And my mom had contacted this nonprofit called Pink Concussions. They're fantastic. And it turned out that the other women and girls who were a part of their nonprofit were experiencing and had experienced similar symptoms and issues that I had with my severe TBI and my 4-year recovery. Mm-hmm. And it was something that the doctors really had a challenge with helping me recover from, other than the fact of just saying that I had a severe TBI. There was just so much more to that. And I had a lot of female specific issues, and there were, you just can't like throw pills at people. And unfortunately, that's generally what ends up happening. And so,
especially for things like pain management, which I'm sure was excruciating. Next thing you know, you have an opiate problem. Right.
It was all you're exactly right. I mean, I was on everything, and there were so many side effects to these pills that just compounded the original issue. It was terrible. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this.
Right.
And so my mom was in contact with them, and then they invited me to speak at the National Institute of Health in Washington, D.C. a few months later.
Pretty high honor.
It was amazing. And it was so crazy, because just imagine going from like 4 years out of the world and down to like getting on a plane for the first time and going to DC to talk about all of these things publicly for the first time. I was scared, and it was like going from 0 to 100. Yes. Just like bam. Yeah. But that's the story of my life, What can I say?
Yeah.
That seems to be how I do everything, So it was amazing. And so I do this. I speak at the National Institute of Health in DC. And because I did that, there was a nonprofit based in Switzerland who saw me, and we had some communications. They're called the Women's Brain Project. Right. They're fantastic. And the next thing you know, I'm on a plane flying to Zurich, Switzerland, and I become the U.S. ambassador for the Women's Brain Project.
Of course you did. That's just amazing.
Which I am to this day.
Wow.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And I am so honored to be the U.S. ambassador.
And you said, forgive me, I think my connection went out, and you're still the U.S. ambassador to this day, right?
Yes. They're fantastic. Beautiful. Yeah, and it's such an honor, and they do so much good work. And the whole premise is to really advocate for precision medicine and to really change the way that we diagnose and treat both women and men in, severe cases and even small cases of brain injury and concussions and other illnesses and diseases and accidents.
Sure.
And they do an amazing job. So I am proud to be still the U.S. ambassador for them, and we do a lot of work. And so anyway, so that happens. And I'm thinking, okay, all right, God, I get it, because I knew that I wanted to help people. That's what I wanted to do. My whole thing is I don't want anyone to have to suffer as I did, because I don't think it's really necessary with the things that I know now and the research that has been done since then. I really do feel like there is room to really help people not have to go through the challenges I faced. And so I really want to be able to help people. So I'm helping people. I'm an ambassador here. I'm doing all this nonprofit work. I'm thinking, I do need a job, What else am I supposed to be doing right now? And
Good job.
yeah. So I see this amazing thing on the news, or I think it could have been Twitter or social media. And I see that there's this gentleman named Nick Loeb, and he is doing a movie that tells the true story of the historic 1973 court case, Roe v. Wade.
Yes, I can I stop you there? Because
Yeah.
This is a perfect segue. I love this. So as you know, at the Lepanto Institute, we're a Catholic organization. We're dedicated to battling enemies from both outside the church and from within, but ultimately to restoring all things in Christ. And what I'm really kind of honored to get to know you a little bit. But I love about your story is you seem to embody something that I would akin to Saint Jose Maria Escrivá, right? And here's what I'm saying. As opposed to your work and the way you kind of view this after this life-changing event is a form of personal sanctity, right? We both probably know some very fine priests and religious whose task it is to preach the gospel. But you and I are in the middle of the world, and you specifically are in Hollywood. So like it or not, in many cases, the reality is that the Catholic message is best understood by attraction, not promotion, right? So, in fact, it may be the only way to get the message out there. So, that being said, pick it up and I have to say this last point, and forgive me, because this is the perfect segue. Okay, faith-based movies. They're positively awful. They're painful to watch. 5 minutes into the movie, I can tell you exactly how it's going to end, right? So, yes. I was really, that's why I was really grateful you came on today, because you had some really fascinating ideas about where you want to go and doing God's work, and with what you've learned, and so pick it up at Nick Loeb and then take it from there.
Well, you know what? To your point, you're so right about that. You're
right?
So right. You're so right.
And they're lovely people. Don't get me wrong, love them, sure. But I'm like, this is killing me.
Yeah,
oh my God.
It's so true. It's so true. And, I have to say, I had no plans, no designs to go back into Hollywood. That was like the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah, right.
Especially after being given a second chance at life. I did not want to go back into Hollywood. That was like the furthest thing from my mind.
Go back in the lion's den. No, thanks. I'm not doing that.
No. I would not want to do that. And, but God's amazing because he has plans that are just so unlike our own, but his ways are better than our own. And little did I know that when I had contacted Nick and said, I don't even remember. It was something like, I'm so happy you're making this film. Good job. It was just, I don't know, something like that.
Sure.
And no joke. It was when, I don't know, maybe a few months later, it was sometime afterwards, I get this message from him randomly, and he said, we would love to have you be a part of our movie. And for me, I felt that so deep inside, like that was actually what I was supposed to do. I felt it. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. The next thing you know, I am an executive producer on Roe v. Wade. And that was something so far from what I had ever imagined. And I never thought about being a producer before. And you know what, though? It's incredible because it was such a perfect fit. And so I'm an executive producer in this movie. And then after that, things just started to happen. And I ended up being asked to be a producer on another film, which I'm currently working on. And then since then, all these other film projects have come my way. And I thought, okay, I get it. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. All right. And it's
Sure.
It's something I never saw coming, but it's such a great fit because, to your point, and something that I do believe has been the mission God is given to me is, film is such a beautiful medium.
And powerful.
It is.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh, isn't it? And it's a beautiful art form. And it has the ability to truly reach people right inside their core, to evoke emotion, to to show humanity and the human condition, and to spread truth, to enlighten people. There are so many things that film has the ability to do.
Yes.
But when was the last time we saw a great movie that did all those things?
Yeah, can I interrupt you? Because I'm dying to say this, and I'm sandbagging you here, but I'm a movie fanatic, and my mom, God rest her soul, she really introduced me to films. But I just want to say this real quick. I want to point a few things out here, because I want to pinpoint the time frame. In 1965, Best Picture was Sound of Music.
Right.
In 1966, A Man for All Seasons, based on the life of St. Thomas More, won Best Picture. In 1969, Midnight Cowboy, a movie based on a male prostitute in Times Square. Okay, go. I just want to frame that, okay, because I think I think there was a time and period where this art form went from magnificent to the triumph of humanity to the dark, seedy side. Can you talk about that? Because you had these really, honestly, and I'm not trying to say, but these beautiful, you and I were talking, I enjoyed it so much. You were telling me about, you have a vision of bringing back glamour to this art form. Okay, go, please.
Yes. So to your point, and I love what you just said, Jim, because that's so true when you just look at the timeline of film, and especially from the golden age of Hollywood. My whole thing, and what I really want to do, is to bring back class. We need that back in society. We need that back in films, because it has a direct effect and there's a direct correlation.
Yes.
And whether we like it or not, media is all around us, and it really has a very strong influence. And so I really want to bring back class and glamour from the golden age of Hollywood, which is intrinsically woven to values.
Yes.
Living good lives, to truly understanding what true beauty is. True beauty is truth. And art, in its purest form, is supposed to evoke beauty and truth. And we have to get back to that, because that's what the movies from the old golden age did. And I know you said, we were speaking about this earlier, how, some of these brilliant films back in the day, they really made you think.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Right?
Yes. And they weren't overt Christian messages, yet they were brilliant, and they were the triumph of humanity. They were virtuous, and that's intrinsically connected to Christ.
Yes,
it is.
Exactly.
Right? But please
exactly. Go. And as I was saying, we were talking earlier, there's that film in 1946. It won Best Picture for cinematography, and it was based on the Charles Dickens novel Great Expectations, starring John Mills.
Yes, the best rendition ever. Nothing came close to that.
Oh no! And I saw that over the holidays.
It was haunting.
It was haunting. It was amazing, and
I loved it.
They didn't have CGI or, all of this stuff. Like, it was pure acting. It was like brilliant filmmaking, but the story was so good. And it really spoke to values, what's important, a good, pure heart, intrinsic goodness. Like, there were so many things that you could touch on with that one movie about life. And when I saw that movie the other day, was it over the holidays? I was riveted. I was like, how did I not see this movie before?
I can't believe you used that as an example, because I honestly thought that was one of I thought it was one of the best Christmas films ever, and it's absolutely beautiful. And the other one, that naturally comes to mind is It's a Wonderful Life. Oh my goodness! I look, that the bar scene of his excruciating.
Oh my gosh!
Was anyone who wasn't affected by that? And I'd like to say, as a side point, because this is very, very interesting. A lot of people don't realize this. Jimmy Stewart was a general in the Air Force. That wasn't a rank given to him. He earned that rank. He was a squadron commander, and the reason his performance was so tightly wound was because he just got back from World War II, and like you, he walked right back into Hollywood. And he even said by his own admission, that bar scene, he wasn't acting.
Wow.
You know, where he sat there and he said, you know, dear God, I'm not a praying man, you know?
Yeah.
And he goes, so, but I
Wow.
mean, and that, I mean, really, honestly, beautiful film. And these are
Love
things,
that movie.
right, or How Green Was My Valley, 1941, right?
Another one. Yeah.
Casablanca. Casablanca is always on my
Oh,
list. These are,
yes.
it has everything. It has adventure, romance, comedy.
Yes.
And it was The Best Years of Our Lives, 1946, right?
Yes.
And then you go,
Yes.
I think these were the glamour and the best of humanity.
Yes.
I just, please take it because you're so much more well-versed than I am.
No, you did a great job. And I so agree with you because, you know, it brought to my mind too. I was sharing with friends, the film called The Song of Bernadette.
Oh, yeah, right.
It told the story of Lourdes and
Yes.
oh, beautifully done. And that
Yes.
was a class act movie. And, you know, again, to your point earlier, we're talking about mainstream feature films
Yes.
as they should be. I don't want it to be pigeonholed into like a category of faith-based films or Christian films.
Right.
We should just make movies great again and have faith in them and values normalized again. And I really do feel like people are clamoring for that. I think society's clamoring for that. We need to return to good storytelling,
Yes.
good stories again. Just making it's entertainment, but like in a very good, positive, inspiring way.
Very well put. You know, I have to tell you, you brought up Song of Bernadette, and you reminded me of something. If you think of it, do you remember the scene? I'm as I said, I'm a movie fanatic.
Yeah.
When she was going to the convent, and when she was leaving, driving, I think it was a horse-drawn carriage. And who was behind her? There was a man who said that he would never marry again.
I remember that scene. Yes.
And so you want to talk about feminine empowerment? It's usually like the other way. Well, here was a reversal. And again, this speaks to it was. Granted, this was an overtly religious movie. He was a young man saying that, you know, out of real love for you, I'm never going to wed. It was incredibly powerful.
I never forgot that scene either, because that was so powerful, because he loved her so much. It showed the power of like true love there.
Real true love, right? Wow.
And how like she was answering God's call, and she didn't really necessarily want that. She didn't ask for that, but she was answering it and saying yes, which is what the fiat. She gave the ultimate fiat.
That's it. Wow, that's oh wow. Sorry, I'm really getting excited actually for real.
It's amazing, right?
We didn't talk about this beforehand, and you nailed it. And I just thought that was such a powerful movie, and things like even which was again, I thank my mother for this. Angels with Dirty Faces. I mean, okay, Pat O'Brien, James Cagney.
Yes.
Good guy, same neighborhood. One went the wrong way. One became a priest. I mean, it was my favorite, one of my favorite movies ever. Did he die yellow, Father? Did he die yellow? Let's go see it. I love that stuff.
Sure. It's great movies. I mean, you know, that's the thing. I mean, we can think back to all of these films that have had such an impact on society, and they're art. They're pure art because they're not only entertaining, but they make you think. It was great acting. It was just great filmmaking. It was great filmmaking.
Right. And that's the point. And all of those things, you know, we kind of talked a little bit about the 40s and those, you know, Angels with Dirty Faces. And then in the 1950s, you had movies like Ben-Hur, which, by the way, I just saw about with some friends of mine over cigars. I have this monstrous TV. It's the one thing I just will never get rid of. And we watched Ben-Hur, and my good friend Greg said, let's watch Ben-Hur because I hadn't seen it in years. Tremendous movie. I mean, my gosh,
what a production.
When he met Christ as a slave who gave him some water. I mean, who wasn't moved by that, right? And then Bridge Over the River Kwai. You know, and then in the 60s, you know, you did such a good job of talking about what the art form was. But more importantly, I think what was most powerful about your testimony was what it could be. And we're given examples of exactly this. And I'm saddened by it because I don't know about you, but, and this is just not one of these, you know, the old guy going, you know, the cranky guy in the neighborhood who said, when I was a kid, I used to walk 5 miles with no shoes uphill both ways to school.
Yeah.
And we liked it. We were happy to have it. We played with the broken glass in the snow. No. But the thing is that no, there is a discernible difference, and these films were, and this is why it was such a part of the American culture. And so my father was born in the late 20s, my mother was born in the early 30s. So fast forward in the 1940s and 50s, this was what they did every Saturday in New York City. They couldn't wait for the next movie to come out, and these guys and these the themes on these, right? All of them spoke to the best of humanity, not the worst. And now, and again, I don't think I'm being unfair or negative. It is horrible.
Yeah, it's true.
It is absolutely horrible. And back to the movie you're involved with. And one of the things, I have not seen it like anyone else, but one of the things I love about it is that, even though I haven't seen it, but I hope to love about it, but I was reading an article about it before actually speaking with you, and as it was said to me, they have offered up in this movie both the feminist version as well as the, call it, pro-life version, and you make your decision. And it's more than anything else, it's accurate.
Yes.
Right. In other words, it's accurate as to what had happened. And so, can you speak a little bit to that, if you wouldn't mind?
Yes.
Like, without giving anything away, I know it's not released yet, but
yes. Well, you make some really great points, Jim, and it's true. We just need to return to great filmmaking, and every now and again, there's one that will pop up over the last number of years, and this is definitely one of those films, and it's another reason why I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And the reason why is, not only is it very well produced, it's very well put together, but it is a feature film that tells the true story of what happened. It's not biased. It's not filtered either. It actually just tells the true story, which I think a lot of people don't know.
They don't know
what the true story is.
And it's funny. We're just coming off a period of time where information's been suppressed, censored. And I think, from what, obviously you know better than I do, I haven't seen the movie, but I think this is going to be a tremendous film because it's going to be eye-opening. Most people don't know Roe, Jane Roe, was hijacked. Right?
Most people don't know that.
Most people don't know that. It was like, and then, God bless him, I think it was Father Frank Pavone, kind of brought her into the pro-life. I mean, it was a really powerful story there.
And he's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, you know him. By the way, Father Pavone, if you're listening, could you please return my calls? I wanted to interview you. And no offense, Father, but
Father Frank Pavone is amazing.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his.
Incredible.
I've been a fan of his for years, and in fact, he came from the New York Archdiocese originally, and that's where I'm from. And it was very interesting how he has sort of, I guess, befriended her in almost a Fulton Sheen manner with Bella Dodd. Like he just, he just seems like that kind of man. But because she showed enormous courage. That woman did. She had to. Oh man, were they after her?
Oh yeah, and a lot of people don't know this. See, that's the thing. A lot of people do not know the true story of how that court case went down and how it was passed. And I mean, it's crazy that this has never been me before, but obviously God's timing for everything, and it's clearly the time. But people need to know the truth, and what better medium to expose and to tell the truth of this court case that's such a historic part of the fabric of our society now.
I would say that's not an overstatement. Yeah.
And the ramifications have been very widespread, and so people should know the truth. I mean, and what a great way to share the truth. And what I like about this is that it's not pigeonholed in the category of a faith-based film. It's not a religious film by any means. It's not a preachy film by any means.
Going back to our earlier point, I think it's the only way to get that message out.
It is, and it's just it's a beautiful feature-length film with excellent acting performances by very, very good actors. We have an all-star cast, and it's even told and shown through the eyes of Dr. Bernard Nathanson.
Yes,
who was that major abortionist.
Right, exactly. He converted
I won't give it away, but you're right.
Okay.
You're right,
Right.
Jim.
Yeah, I
You're
see
right.
too.
And Nick plays his character in the film, and he did a brilliant job, by the way. And
Okay.
it's amazing. And so it is not filtered. It is not biased. It truly, purely lays out the facts, and people can watch it no matter what their affiliation is, no matter what they believe. And hopefully then by seeing this movie, they will have a better understanding, not only of what happened with the court case of Roe v. Wade, but also truly what abortion really is. And which I think a lot of people don't truly kind of grasp sometimes. So
I think you're 100% right. And it's interesting. Which is why I think that the movie that came out, and I'm sorry it escaped someone recently, about the former family planning person.
Unplanned.
Thank you.
Excellent movie.
It was an excellent movie, and a lot of people had no idea. And
right.
I just was reading this the other day, and one of the other sort of, if not primary, but side benefits of late-term abortions is the value of the body parts. I'll let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is not. This is there. Look, I make it's obvious we're the Lepanto Institute. You know firmly where we stand on this. There's no question about it. And I think that there's something horribly disordered when I've watched my entire life this discussion go down, and we're conveniently willing to just, I call it a détente. Right.
Wow.
What I mean by that is there's a détente with people. In other words, I don't want to really know, and then you go do your thing. And what I love about the kind of work you're doing, and with a movie like this is not a position film.
No, it's not.
This is a film based on actual facts, and I think that's something that we are in short supply of. Real critical thinking and internalizing facts and coming to a decision. So,
yes, absolutely.
I'll tell you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I also want to point out too, and this is another really amazing thing that Nick and Kathy did. And by the way, Nick and Kathy co-directed this, and
I think I said at the beginning. I hope I did, right? Yeah. Okay. I think yeah.
Did you? Okay.
Kathy Allen, right?
Kathy Allen. Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
They did such a great job. And what they have done is they have actually put together a fact check section.
Oh, right.
And I know that it's going to be with the website, which by the way, everyone can visit RoeVWadeMovie.com. And also, I think it's on their Facebook page. And basically, anything in the movie that someone hears or sees, they can literally go to this fact check section of our film and have the entire explanation and all of the history and references to back it up, because the movie is 100% truthful and factual. It is completely 100% truthful. So again, it's another reason why I love what we've managed to have together, and really it's to Nick's credit, is putting together a beautiful feature film that really just shares the truth of this historic court case. And so anybody can watch it across the board, around the world, no matter what you believe in or what you think. And I do hope that by watching this film, it could inspire people and do all the things that I do think good films have the power to do. Right. And it's just such a treasure. I mean, I am so proud of this movie. So just remember, it comes out April 2nd. RoeVWadeMovie.com. I see it.
Do you see it on there?
I do. I see it. Yeah.
I get absolution from making you talk for 10 minutes and forgetting to hit the record button earlier.
It's okay.
So that was.
I was telling you too, I'm like following the sun. There's like a sun mommy. So
very cool.
Anyway, but I was just gonna say too, I really feel like we're all ready to have good movies again. And with all the, sometimes we all tend to be so negative, right? So I'm all about bringing back this positive mindset where let's just bring back good movies with values And we have the ability to make that choice and those changes now. And instead of focusing on all the negative things going on, why don't we be positive and focus on the positive actions that we can do to make these things happen? And I do think that that's part of my mission as a producer. And let me tell you, I have been so tremendously blessed ever since embarking on this journey. And I feel so blessed to have this second chance at life. And that's why sometimes people say I'm a little bit too excited about things.
Well, I'll tell you, and it comes across in a very authentic way, Sheree. And we
It's
can't.
authentic.
What's that?
It's authentic.
Oh, I know, and it's just people. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
I think that about wraps it up for this episode of General Quarters. Listen, I just want to thank Sheree Ballinger one more time for taking the time to speak to us today. I absolutely loved the conversation. I mean, Hollywood needs to go back to those days of, well, frankly, showing the best of humanity, the triumph of the human spirit. I mean, it's incredible. After all is said and done, your message today was one of virtue, and that your life is meaning, or Fulton Sheen, it's worth living, right?
Yes.
And carrying one's cross and ultimately overcoming is what would make movies a beautiful art form. It's the very message of Jesus Christ. And when this is done well, it emulates the Catholic personal struggle in, like, call it a comparative allegory on a human level on the big screen. And that is incredibly powerful art. So again, Sheree, thank you so much. This is Jim Maughan from the Lepanto Institute. And we would like to thank you for watching this episode of General Quarters. And God bless until next time. Thanks, guys.